Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady and live on Skype. We got Josh.
Yo.
Elimination Chamber this weekend. We've got some Raw and some NXT we might get to, but Elimination Chamber, that's our big boy. And let's leave some of the Chamber matches till last. Let's talk about some of the other stuff, especially our less than 5 minute clash between Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. That that ultimate match. They're 1-1. They go into the rubber match, and we end on a low blow being caught and a DQ being called.
Yeah, definitely an interesting way to end it. Up to the low blow, though, it was definitely meaty men slapping meat for 5 minutes.
Yeah, my biggest thing is I just, what were we going with this match? We thought maybe Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar was going to be the WrestleMania match. Then we got an Elimination Chamber, and we're like, okay, maybe we'll get 2 copies of it. You got Bray Wyatt calling out, the winner of this match. You got Omos challenging Brock Lesnar on Raw. Honestly, if we don't have another Lashley-Lesnar match, is this really the cap on the feud? The finishing of the 3 matches? Because it feels pretty weak if that's the case.
Yeah, it definitely leaves like a realm for a possible another match. I don't know. It's definitely was a case where it's like, okay, you didn't want to put either over really strong in this match, so go for the DQ finish, and then you can split them up, and you can always do another match somewhere down the road, assuming the rumors isn't true that Brock's contract ends at WrestleMania.
Yeah, there's just so much cloud and weirdness around this. Like, if it is true and Brock Lesnar does ride off into the sunset, we've said that 500,000 times, it feels like, with Brock, but if it goes as planned, Brock Lesnar versus Omos being Brock Lesnar's last match, there's some weird stuff happening.
Yeah, I will say the visual of him trying to suplex and stuff on Omos will be quite entertaining.
We've been talking about the Hurt Business. We've been talking about the possibility that they reform under a different version with Omos. And now it's Omos, Lesnar. Bobby's still, heated with them. We're seeing Bray Wyatt possibly coming after this lot with his crew. There's definite chances for, I don't know, crossover's not the right word, but chances for something to be happening in that greater Bray Wyatt, Hurt Business, Lashley, Lesnar, Omos, MVP kind of melting pot that everything seems to be in at the moment. I just don't know, once they're finished boiling, what mold we're going to end up pouring them out into. That was a weird analogy, but I'm going to stick with it. Versus one that we definitely know what we're going to be doing with, which is the mixed tag team match. We got Edge and Beth Phoenix. We picked it. The Legends going over. It made the most sense. They took out the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley obviously has her date with Charlotte at WrestleMania. And Finn Balor looks pretty certain to make his date against Edge at WrestleMania.
Yeah. So, technically, we were both right. I was right about the Legend winning. You were right about the feud not ending.
I don't know if I'm happy about being right, though. Yeah, we're gonna get at least one more between these two.
Yeah. My bet, Edge's career will be on the line at WrestleMania.
Okay.
That is what I'm thinking the ante will be for the match, because it doesn't make a lot of sense otherwise.
Yeah, Edge is upper hand at the moment. He did just pick up the win in the mixed tag match. Finn Balor is costing him United States Championship matches. He's the one coming after. He's the aggressor. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see. I've heard Hell in a Cell. I've heard Steel Cage. some sort of stipulation for sure with the, retirement match. I don't know. Edge only wanted to come back, do his little thing, and go out on his terms. Finn Balor still leads Judgment Day. There's another one where I don't necessarily know the specifics of what's going to shake out, but we know it's going to be Balor versus Edge in some form at the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah. And as long as it stays at that, and we don't get anything that modifies our women's title match, I'm fine with. We put Beth in that title match, and I will not be happy.
Yeah, it would not be a good time, I don't think. The only thing I could think of, like, any iota of sense would be that they want Beth to take the fall. I feel like that weakens Rhea Ripley winning if she does win. I don't know. The storyline is there for Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. Let it be that, it doesn't need a Beth Phoenix. Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley is a big enough match on its own, and it makes a whole lot of sense. It's the Rumble winner versus the champ. Leave it alone.
Yeah. I still think it would be better for overall story with it being her versus Bianca, considering Bianca and her were the final two in the Rumble that Bianca won that started her run, but they chose to go back to where Charlotte screwed Rio out of her NXT title.
That ship has sailed, but Bianca Belair does have her WrestleMania opponent. Thank you for the segue. As the match opened with an Elimination Chamber match for that number one contender spot for the Raw Women's Championship. We had Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, Natalya, Raquel Rodriguez, and Carmella entering the matchup, with ultimately Asuka coming out on top, entering last, picking up the win.
Yeah, it was a good match. Definitely had you had half the women that are just insane, and half the women that are just that aren't insane, but probably could go insane if we wanted to. I will say there were two real big moments in this match. The first was Liv passing out to a double submission.
They really want Liv to be strong.
Yeah, which is a good thing, because that means they believe in her. And then it took both Asuka and Carmella to take out Raquel Rodriguez. The future is definitely there with Raquel. It's only a matter of time before she becomes a women's champion on the main roster. It just wasn't her time now, because we have to do Dark Asuka versus Bianca.
Yeah, there was three standout performers. There was three crazy people, but there was three standouts, and that was Asuka, Liv Morgan, and Raquel. I think these three, and it's nothing against Carmella, Natalya, or Nikki. I just feel like those three are three of your top talents. Not necessarily even newer with Liv Morgan, but I guess more underutilized with Liv Morgan, newer with Raquel Rodriguez, and then Asuka with her change in attitude and change in character and everything like that. It feels like if you combine them with some of the other, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Bayley, that's sort of your top of the divisions. And yeah, as you say, Raquel Rodriguez, I could see her going, assume Rhea Ripley wins SmackDown title. Bam, you got Raquel sitting right there. And I'd love to see me some Rhea Raquel. She's got something. She will eventually get there. But as you say, Asuka versus Belair is the match we're going to be getting at WrestleMania.
I could definitely see maybe SummerSlam for the two. Having Raquel versus Rhea Ripley for the title.
Could go either way as well.
Could also be brought on because of a certain briefcase that occurs about a month or so before SummerSlam.
You're expecting the woman's Money in the Bank briefcase to not be cashed in within a week? You must be crazy.
Yeah. You never know. You never know. They might decide to change things up.
That is true. Well, we are roughly halfway through the show. We still have the United States Elimination Chamber match and the main event to talk about when we come back from our entrance theme this week, which is in honor of Montreal's own Sami Zayn. Playing for you now. And you're back for Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. United States Championship, 32 or 31 and a half minutes Elimination Chamber match. Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano, Damian Priest, Montez Ford, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory. 2 eliminations for Montez, 2 eliminations for Austin Theory. Well, 1 in a technical elimination for Austin Theory. 1 for Damian Priest as well. Yeah, 31 and a half minutes of a banger.
Arguably, best Elimination Chamber match ever.
I wasn't going to say it, but I will agree when you say it.
Yeah, it's the one that I would put on par with it would be the original. The very first one.
Mm-hmm.
This was a phenomenal match. Everybody had moments to shine, except maybe Bronson Reed. But Bronson Reed just looked like a tank, so that's his shine there. And absolutely the brightest star of them all was Montez Ford.
We said it, right? Like this, we talked about with Finn Balor and Edge not being finished, how I was right, but not happy that I was right. I feel like last week we were talking about how amazing this match would be, how great Montez Ford and the rest of the competitors would be, and this time I am happy to be right.
Yeah. Ford had... The only thing that I was sad about was we didn't get the frog splash from the top of the pod, but it may be... He jumped so high that he can't do that. But we got some amazing moments. He was all over the place, even climbing it and dropping onto his opponent, onto the entire group. It was insane, and he definitely deserved a massive standing ovation once he was done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the spark that lights his path to a solo run.
Yeah, I think if anything, this match shows you that Raw upper mid card is solid, right? There were people who weren't in this match that you could also throw in there, you know, your Miz's, your Dolph Ziggler's. Like, this is a solid roster. You know, you don't have to be worried about not having a deep talent pool. Obviously, we can still talk about Austin and Rollins and stuff that they're going to go on to, but Montez Ford, he's the flavor that we're talking about right now. My only question is, where do we go from here with Montez?
Unfortunately, we will have to go with a breakup of the Street Profits. Amicable or otherwise, that is the next step. They do have to separate. As much as I hate to say that, because Street Profits are an amazing tag team, we need tag teams. The star of Montez Ford, though, I feel supersedes that.
Yeah, it's a tough one, just because, as you say, they have been so great as a tag team. Not everybody's the New Day, they can't stay together forever. Yeah, I just don't know how it's going to go. Hopefully it isn't, a generic Dawkins gets jealous, attacks him, and we feud for 6 months. Hopefully it doesn't go the way of Heavy Machinery, where Tucker just sort of disappears one night.
And then gets fired?
Yeah. But Montez,
I don't think so, because I think when we were talking about this possibility last year, we were worried about Dawkins getting lost in the shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
I think as time has gone in the last year, Dawkins has developed into a solid hand himself, and I think he can do well on his own as well. I don't think it's going to be a situation like Heavy Machine or like you brought up, where it's going to be one person gets shot to the moon temporarily, for better or worse. The other gets shot out of a cannon out of the company.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that Angelo Dawkins can survive here. I think he's got it in him. You know, I wouldn't say that he's like majorly outshone by Montez Ford. They both have talent. It's not a like Rocker's situation here. But Ford just has it, and you can't argue with it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just some guys just are born with the it factor. And Montez Ford has it in spades. Dawkins could have it. We don't really know for sure. But it's definitely been shown from day one. Montez Ford has it. It's just a matter of time. I guess we do need to talk about the injury angle, though.
Not a fan.
Yeah, definitely not a fan of that, but it is what it was, and it was quote unquote necessary for to bring the story to a conclusion for the entire match.
Yeah, it's always a rough one, right? Because I'm sure we could have done different ways around it, but never a fan of to that point, you know, just pretending someone's hurt. You could tell, you know, the proper medics weren't called in. They were like lifting him by his neck. It was a little rough. But I'm sure you could have slipped Logan in other ways. I kind of half expected him to Shawn Michaels' way out.
Yeah, it may be that the new chamber, because you got to remember, when Shawn did that, it was with the old chamber.
It's true.
The new chamber may not have a panel that can be removed like that. And that literally the only way to get in is through the front door. Which I think would have been perfectly fine had he maybe like when Montez was coming out of the ring after being knocked by being pinned, maybe have Logan attack the referees and stuff and jump in.
There were other ways around it.
But I don't think you do that because Logan doesn't want to be seen as a heel, even though he completely is one.
When you get booed, the ever-loving HE double hockey sticks and Seth Rollins is getting cheered against you, I don't think it matters how you want to be perceived. It's very clear how you're being perceived.
Yeah. But, so yeah, there were ways around it. And I agree with you. I'm not a fan of the fake injury. But it did what it had to do overall to ensure we get to where we're going with our stories.
Seth versus Logan and Austin versus Cena.
Yeah.
And not that Austin.
Yeah.
That definitely seems to be where both those are going for sure.
Yep. And I think Seth and Logan, I think, will put on a banger. If for no other reason than it's because it's Seth freaking Rollins in the ring. But I can't really say that because we have sung the praises of Logan's in-ring work in the year since he joined the company. For better or worse, with our opinions on him.
Worse.
Yeah.
I've been very outspoken about my opinion on Logan Paul the Human.
Yeah. So, and then, so yeah, it was just it's happening, and it should be a great match. And then I think Austin Theory versus John Cena will be a fine match. I don't think it'll be a great match, but I think it'll be a fine match.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been finer like 6 months ago, but I think there's still enough heat there for the fire to pick up and to blow around and put on a good one. Title doesn't necessarily need to be there.
As far as the heat goes, I think it'd be better now because this is Austin Theory is much different than the Austin Theory 6 months ago.
That is true. Austin's had longer in the oven.
Yeah.
We let him cook. I want to leave some time, so let's just jump into this main event. Undisputed WWE Universal Championship, 32 minutes, 20 seconds. About 6 minutes of that was just standing around at the start of the match, but Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, banger in Montreal, everybody cried.
Yeah. It was a phenomenal match. These two brought everything that they had to give for it. And at the end of the day, the reason I picked Sami Zayn is because Sami is a bona fide main event star off of this match. I don't see how you can't put the title on him at some point down the road in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a phenomenal position. And let's say, I also think this match also solidifies Roman as one of the greatest of all time. The fact that it was so good, and Roman might be the best at in-ring trash talk ever. And he tells such wonderful stories inside the ropes. And we knew it wasn't going to happen. That they weren't going to put Sami over. But the storytelling of the match made you doubt that and made you think they might do it.
That really is.
They might go crazy and do it.
Yeah. When you're so dead certain about something, but then you doubt it. It's like, I don't remember exactly.
There were so many parallels with this match at Eddie versus Brock Lesnar at No Way Out in 2004. So many different parallels with it. The only only difference was the outcome. But it was just phenomenal work by Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. And Paul Heyman got involved in it too. So, and then the post-match stuff. I think it was right there on par with the stuff from the Royal Rumble. The fact that he tried to do the same thing to Sami that he did to Kevin Owens, only for Sami to get back onto his feet simply because Jey Uso showed up. And Jey Uso could not pull the trigger.
Bit of storytelling for you.
Yeah. And then you have what's probably the launch point for Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The misdirected spear.
Surely you just watch it back later. You open up your WWE Network or your Peacock and you go, it was an accident.
Yeah. Obviously, it was. But that's the thing that will stick in Jey Uso's mind, is that spear. And it will lead him to reuniting with his brother against Sami.
And Sami's got a tall order because Kevin Owens doesn't want to be his friend right now.
Yeah. Which is, I think, another element of great storytelling is that we know that's where they're going. But they're putting it off by making you think, no, I don't want to do this. Yeah. And it's only a matter of time. It'll be probably a couple weeks. Probably after SmackDown this week, probably is when the decision will be made by Jey Uso. And you slowly get to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn challenging for the tag titles.
Yeah, Kevin Owens' opinion on it really just seemed to be, you saved me from a beatdown, so I'll save you from a beatdown, but it's nothing more. And yeah, there was just so much story. I feel like we could have talked all 30 minutes of the show just about the story at the moment. And, we haven't even touched on the fact where that's heading in terms of the Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns stuff that's been happening on Raw. But yeah, this is the storyline in professional wrestling right now.
It is one of the best storylines of all time.
That's a statement.
Even people that the creative minds behind the NWO, Eric Bischoff, has said this storyline is better.
I was going to say your words, not mine, but it's Eric's words, not either of ours.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the one story WWE's created that has some sort of argument against this storyline is the Mega Power storyline. But, because that was a beautifully told story, too. I don't know, it's just, the Bloodline is everything. And it knows it, and it's proud of it.
Yeah. Well, we have run out of time, so we'll be talking, I'm sure, much more about the Bloodline in the lead up to WrestleMania, which is our next big premium live event. But that is all we have the time for. It's been great talking to you.
Maybe.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND up, and we will catch you next week.